Wow.
Have a seat.
Yeah.
I actually tried to get Fabien to Wintercircus. I think a year and a half ago, I sent him an email, and he said, look, love the initiative, but I'm focused on Odoo. Like, I'm not going to visit Wintercircus. Then 8 months later, I emailed him again. Hey, I'm an Odoo customer. Like, can we do something now? And then we got onto this event. But I love his focus. Fabien, amazing story. Can you maybe tell a little bit about the origin story of Odoo? Like, how did it start? Why did you start this company?
I guess it's probably like you. I just love to build software. It's not so much about the company, but more about helping companies. That's also what still drives me today. It's just I want to be useful, help employees to be more productive. I mean, there are so many people that suffer at work, and we spend like 1/3 of our time at work, so it's better be with good tools. And when you provide the good tools to the people, it really changes sometimes the way they feel, the way they can do, because everybody wants to be productive. Everybody wants to have an impact, but if you have shitty tools, if you don't have access to the data, if you have to record data every day, you can't. And so I strongly believe that what we do is useful.
Did your original vision that you had for the company strongly evolved since you started the business, or it stayed the same?
It's evolved. The vision is the same, management software for the mass. But the way to execute evolved, obviously. Yeah. At the beginning, it was very complex software. Then for 10 years, we had to fight to make it easier.
Yeah. Where does the name Odoo come from?
Nowhere, it sounds good.
I love it. It didn't have to do something with the O's in there?
Yeah, but that's the lie we tell to the press. Yes. So when we launched, before it was Tiny ERP, and I went to Danone, and I sold Odoo to Danone, and the board told me, but why should we pay €1 million for a tiny software? And I said, oh shit, we have to change the name. And then I came back to Belgium and I said to the team, we have to change the name. And we went for Open ERP because we are open source, and ERP because we do everything. But turns out that ERP is very negative. It sounds like SAP. So we had to change the name. And because I did the mistake 2 times, I pick a name that means nothing.
Love it.
But what we said, but that's not sexy. So what we said to the press is that we did a graph with the number of O in the name of the top 100 companies, digital companies in the world. And we put number of O's, so 0 O, 1 O, 2 O, and the graph was like this, really. And then we said to the press, and we will put 3 O in the name to be above everything. But that's just a lie we told the press at the time.
Fabien, everybody thinks that Odoo is not an overnight success, but a lot of people only see the bright side of the success you're having now. Yeah? I strongly believe, and I've been a witness of that as well with my own companies, is that successful businesses have a few near-death experiences where it's almost over. Can you maybe talk us through 1 or 2 of those experiences you had with Odoo?
Yeah, I do agree. The difference between the very successful companies and the others is the very successful ones just survived. Because everybody has tough time, it happens. For me, it's been 7 years close to bankruptcy.
Wow.
Where I had difficulties to pay the salary at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Not straight, so it was 3 years here, 2 years here, but in total I had 7 years like that.
What does that do to you as a person, those 7 years?
I believe the company is so good because of that. We learn to execute with nothing, to not spend too much money. So we build a culture of efficiency that you cannot build if you raise too much money.
Exactly.
And because of that, we had to fight, we had to do differently, we had to be smart. We couldn't defocus, we had to be extremely focused because we didn't have the money to experiment too much, we had to be right. And that made us what we are today. And also it allowed us, we learned how to decide when that happens and know exactly what to do when it happens.
Yeah, exactly. What are some of what is like the biggest mistake you've made in the last 20, 25 years?
I've done a lot. I think the biggest mistake was the pricing.
Okay.
I did a shitty pricing like years ago. 1 year because the pricing didn't match, and when you work with partners, they suffer a lot if you do a mistake. So the partner network suffered from the bad pricing. It was too high with a very bad structure. But what's funny enough is that at the time we were changing the pricing nearly every year, experimenting. And one of the best decisions I did was also the pricing. Oh. But a few years after.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember after a few years ago, every software vendor was increasing their prices and you were lowering the price,
yes.
Right? And it had a crazy impact on your revenue.
Yeah, like 3 years ago, there was inflation, everybody was increasing their price, and we said the exact opposite. That's when we launched the 20 euro for every apps. And from one day to another, we multiplied the new clients per month by 2.8. Yeah. Wow. So that exploded right away. Not the revenues, because we get the same revenues, but we grew the volume of users, and then brand awareness went with it, and then we aligned better with our vision of low cost.
Love it. And on the flip side, like, what are some of the key decisions that you took that made Odoo the success that it is today? Like, do you remember some of them? Small decisions, big decisions?
Yeah, one of the hardest is how we went with the tough times. Yeah. So we were close to bankruptcy, and at the time I had a not very good board of investors, and I was fighting to get some cash, and I succeeded to get 400K of cash, so we could survive a few extra months. And then the board told me no, no more cash in the company. We vote against that. But here is an offer of 2 million euro at a very, very bad price. It was basically taking control of the company. Yeah. So we fought for months with lawyers, and at the time you don't sleep because you try to make the company survive. So you are fighting to keep your customer, motivate your employees, and against the board that try to take the control of the company. So after a few months fighting with them, with lawyers, and trying to get a solution to that, at some point I really remember the night I did that. I said, stop. And it was close to midnight. I was home and I did the list of the people of the company in fire. It was the first time in my life I had to let people go that I liked, just because we wanted to survive. And that saved actually the company. Wow. And the way we operated after during this tough time really was formative to me. So the next day I explained to everybody. I've always been very clear and transparent, so I showed them a graph. Here is the cash. There was like 2 weeks of cash remaining. But here is what we'll do. I need you to stay with me. We will fight hard. We will do this, and then we will make it happen. And everybody stayed. Not a single person stayed. And one of the things I learned in that case is that we entrepreneurs, we are very optimistic. I mean, you cannot do what you do or what I do if you are not optimistic. It's hard. So we need to be optimistic to survive. But when shit happens, because you're optimistic, you are like, okay, I will let 3 people go and it's going to be better. Yeah. But if you do that, you wait 2 months and then, I have to let 3 people go. And then every time you do that, you lose the motivation of the team, and the problem gets bigger and bigger. And at the end, you have to fire way more. So I think I did what you should do, is to be transparent, cut once, but cut hard, to be sure that you're safe for the next time.
Were there times when you were in those 7 years, you had to let people go, you almost went bankrupt, where you doubted yourself, you said, okay, maybe my strategy wasn't good? Like, did you have moments like that?
No, I'm very optimistic.
I love
Probably
it.
Too much. But
optimistic and naive, like that.
I always believed in it. At some point, I was probably the only one. I mean, in the board, the employees always followed me. Yeah.
Can you explain a bit the acceleration that Odoo has been seeing the last few years at this scale? I mean, your revenue rate is growing, the mass of customers you're getting is spiking month over month. Like, why is that? Of course, it's because of the best product.
There is nothing special. I mean, we have done 50% growth year after year for 20 years. We didn't have a very big year. We didn't have an explosion. It's just year after year, 50% growth because of good execution.
Yeah, he makes it look so easy. I love it. But in a way, it's easy. It's like in your presentation, you have a few principles. Like, one of the questions that I had is like, how the hell did you manage to scale your culture from a few people to over 6,000? I mean, I've done it from 1 to 500, and it was brutal.
It's harder.
Yeah, but it's harder, yeah.
So I did a few things that really helped. One is to never, ever recruit managers. Yeah. Because if you recruit experienced directors, they will come with their own culture. Maybe it's a good one, but it's not yours. Because of my principle of always sticking to always promote the best of the team, never recruit manager, that helped preserve the culture. Because the ones that worked, that were very aligned with the culture grew, and we didn't have people who came with their own ideas. First, I wrote a book about the culture. It's called The Survival Guide for Odooers. that is distributed to all employees all across the world, or new employees. At the time, I did that to formalize the culture. And after 5 years, I noticed that it was extremely efficient. I went to Hong Kong and Dubai, companies I never visited. I came there and I was, wow, they are aligned with the culture. It turns out it's because of the book that they read.
Yeah, awesome.
So we did a few things like that, and we communicate a lot to preserve the culture.
Is it becoming harder at this scale to manage culture?
No.
No?
I think it's a matter of process. Once you have the right process, the communication, the instructions are clear for everybody, employees know what they should do or should not.
Yeah.
You don't recruit external manager, we don't acquire company, we only do organic growth. Once everything is set up, I feel like it works.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people here read the interview that you had with Matthias Geroms in the tijd, the founder of Lighthouse. There was a lot of debate, I would say, in the ecosystem about it. Can you walk the audience a bit through your thinking about why you don't like stock options? Which is a very, very common, popular way to motivate people.
Yeah, I don't like to give shares to employees. Yeah, for different reasons. One, I believe it's always deceived on one, either the company or the employee. How can I say that? Okay, I will give you a few examples. I had a director that was frustrated about his salary, very frustrated. So every meeting he was complaining. He had the actually biggest salary of Odoo, but I couldn't afford more. So I don't know if I think I was paying him okay, but not very well. But he was extremely frustrated. He was complaining. It was really an issue for a few years, to the point that it was painful to me. And then we stopped working with him. And 6 months after, he sold his shares and he gets 4.5 million of euros. Okay. And in my mind, I was like, okay, I should have given him 100K of salary per year. He would have been the king of the world. He would have been happy, not frustrated, and I would have saved a few millions. Yeah. And that's the thing, shares are not free. Someone paid the price for it, the shareholders usually, but it could be the company too, because if I would have kept the shares in the company, I could have sold them for fundraising or whatever, and get the money in the company. Also, because I'm saying that because 15 years ago I gave a few shares to maybe 10 people. So I did that a few at the beginning, but I stopped 15 years ago. I had another example of someone who had a few stock options with a vesting period. And the day he could exercise his vesting period, he left. Yeah. And I was in my mind, I was like, oh, I should have left one year before. I mean, if he's not happy with the job, what's the point of forcing him to stay just for the money? He was not motivated, he was not doing a good job because of that. I should have not constrained him because of the options. And then in terms of value, either you pay too much, you give shares, that's what's the case with the director, or you pay too few. If the company is not as successful, the stock options you give may be worth zero. And then it's very hard to do that for the company. So I changed my mind recently. The only share we emit are purchased by the company. So we do a loan to the bank to acquire shares in the company so that we get the leverage on the shares, and we use this leverage to pay people better. So instead of giving shares, I pay people well, and they like it.
Yeah. It's very contrarian, but I love it. And it clearly works. Like every time I hear him, Fabien say something that we did differently at Showpad, I mean, I have to agree because like the numbers speak for itself. But let's talk maybe about something else in Odoo. Maybe like what does Fabien's life look like next to Odoo? Do you have hobbies? Do you do things outside work?
Yeah, one of my hobbies, I think you don't like it.
The what?
One of my hobbies, I think you don't like it.
Okay, tell me.
Table tennis.
Really?
Yes, someone of your team told me that you are against table tennis here.
Sorry,
Is it true or not? Ping pong. Is it true or not?
No, it's a lie.
I probably wanted to tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I play table tennis or badminton, squash. Yeah. My hobbies are friends, obviously, and family, like everybody.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
Two.
How old are they?
11, 13.
One of one of your LinkedIn posts that I remember was you lived about a year in India, right? So you saw that the business in India wasn't going well. You were sharing some stories about the education in India. Can you maybe share that story to the audience?
Yeah, I don't remember which story it was, but education in India is amazing. Yeah. So not everything is amazing in India. So if you have to compare with Belgium, education in Belgium is a good average. Yeah. So basically every schools are more or less the same level, which is a good one, but not great. Not bad neither. In India, they have a very broader scope. They have very shitty school for the poor and also extremely good school for the smartest guys. But the top 30 percentile of the schools are way, way better than here. They have a system that train entrepreneurs, builders, and everything that we don't have here.
Yeah.
And that is amazing. So my kids went to a school, not a big one, it's probably top 30 percentile, but not top 10. And they learn much, much faster than it, like 2 times faster than what they would learn in Belgium. So I was impressed. And I was also impressed by the mindset of the teacher. So a teacher in India, in my area, Gujarat, it's 150 euro of salary per month.
Wow.
So even for India, it's not a lot. Huh? It's developer is 1,000. So yet, if they had an exam on Monday, the teachers were available on Saturday and Sunday if the kids had a question. And I saw it for my daughter. She had a question. She called the teacher. The teacher explained her for 45 minutes on Sunday.
Wow.
So she explained the theory, gave her exercise, and corrected the exercise. So that she was sure that on Monday she was ready for the exam.
And how are they adapting back to Belgium? Good?
Sorry, oh?
How are they adapting back to Belgium?
I made them skip a year, just to be sure they go fast. And there are lots of stories like that. One day, the school said, no, all your kids have to come on Saturday at school. We are late on the agenda, so we have to move faster, come on Saturday. Yeah. We have to go on Saturday for the school.
How do you feel about building a business in Belgium, in Europe? Like, are we still a continent where we cannot have one Odoo, but 50, 100 Odoos? How do you look at that?
I mean, it's life. We have a smaller market, multi-languages, only 11 million of people, so just life. But I mean, there are a lot of good. Everywhere I go, people complain about their own country. I was in the US, Americans were complaining a lot about Americans. The government, everything. In Belgium, we complain also, especially in Wallonia. In India, they are complaining too. The reality is that life in Belgium is incredible. I mean, the social life, education, healthcare, housing is perfect. We don't have dramatical situations. So yes, we could improve education. Yes, we could improve entrepreneurship. It's not easy to be an entrepreneur in Belgium. But all in all, it's quite good.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're very fertile ground for building amazing companies. But we need to think longer term. We need to have bigger visions. Maybe 2 more questions before we give it to the audience. I mean, we're now entering that wave of AI that is changing a lot, that is changing how business operates, how they will think, how they will work with humans. How will it impact Odoo? Like, how will it impact your roadmap, your vision? Any thoughts there?
I just see that as an extra feature that will help the users. For some people, it already changed a lot, like the accountants.
Yeah.
Now they don't have to record data anymore. Invoices are automated. We have 98.5 success rate in recognition. Banks are synchronized. So it completely changed the job. You don't record data every day. You just control, optimize tax, and so on. It's not the case for every job. When you move box in the warehouse, AI won't help you a lot. Yeah. Maybe less movement, but that's it. But I also believe that in our space, the real game changer is not so much AI, but UX, user experience. Yep. You know, ERP traditionally ERP have been built to manage the process of the company. Just be able to buy, store, sell, and have a consolidated accounting. And they did that pretty well. But I believe now that what makes a very good software is not so much about the capabilities of managing the workflow, but it's more about the productivity of the users. And that's user experience. Yep. And that's what we focus on. It's a lot about the user to have every employee be more efficient and productive.
Absolutely agree. One more question before we give it back to the audience. Like, where was Odoo in 10 years? How would success look like for you? Do you have a vision on that, or is that just a stupid question?
No, it's a very good one, but it takes time to answer.
Yeah.
Okay. I have 1 minute?
Yeah, of course, of course. Okay. I'll drink a little bit, and the audience.
So, if you want to predict the future, you have to understand the past. So, if you look at the past, what happened in the IT sector, it started with the operating system. For the old people like me in the room, 30 years ago, you had MS-DOS, Dr. DOS, Unix, Minix, a lot of operating system that to manage the complexity of computers. Fast forward today, it's only Windows, iOS, and Linux, 3 operating system consolidation. And then, in addition to the technical complexity of the operating system, we had the user interface complexity and came the office tools. 20 years ago, you had Works, WordPerfect, Lotus 1, 2, 3, you name it, there was a lot. Fast forward today, it's only Microsoft Office and Google Workspace. So in our space, in addition to the technical complexity, the user complexity, we also have the business complexity. But it's going to be the same. We still are at this phase where we have plenty of players doing a lot of things, but as the software gets mature, we'll have a consolidation and just 1, 2, or 3, I don't know, player will have the whole market. So basically, my challenge for the future is just to survive and be amongst these 1, 2, or 3 players that have the world.
I think that's a great vision, and something tells me that you also have the mindset, the team, the focus on culture, all of the right accents that I think are needed to make this happen.